my goal in this talk is really to get you to understand that security needs to understand what is important to the business. And conversely, the business needs to understand what's important for security. The concept security by design is about considering tactics and security patterns from the beginning. Every aspect of your business is going to have data that is valuable and essential, and you may not even be aware of all of it. So mapping it all out from the start with that beautiful red and yellow chart we saw earlier is absolutely essential. But secure by design really isn't just about software. The principles are incorporating security and risk management and best practices into everything: building, designing, transforming, integrating, all of these things. Securing software and data and handling these integrations in a secure way needs to be efficient and painless as well, though. And the only way that you can really do that is to start tackling it and considering it from the start. A couple of things to consider. We've had some great speakers. Brett already mentioned company-wide priority setting and knowledge mapping. That's absolutely essential. You need to know what you've got. Bob also talked about that a bit. And then Bob really started giving some great examples of secure by design, where he talked about pre-planning for an eventual breach. The negotiating contracts, again, brilliant. Having canned PR responses. That might sound mundane, but being able to push out an email immediately to all the people who may respond instantly is essential. So anyway, so we'll get to the slide here. When you talk to your tech and security leaders, you can ask them, tell me, how are we securing our data assets? And what you're going to want to hear is that your security team understands the criticality of your data, whether it's employee data, customer data, product data. You've probably heard the term checkbox security. And if you look at this left-hand column here, that checkbox security isn't necessarily bad. It's just not complete. I think I've got time for a quick sort of imaginary story, because I see Jim, and so I need to be able to make a space story. Imagine if when they were building the space shuttle, they thought, okay, we have this giant hunk of metal coming back into orbit. We're going to hit some thick atmosphere. It's going to get really hot. Let's cover this whole thing in heat shielding. Well, if they really just said, okay, heat shielding, check, they may have spent a lot of time thinking, okay, here are the windows, here are the flexi bits up at the top. How do we heat shield that? And they would have ended up with fewer resources to consider what's really important, which is the bottom. So that bottom is going to get really hot. Let's focus on that. So again, it's not bad to say, okay, we've got heat shielding, but it could lead to a situation where you focused on the wrong point. So this is kind of a worksheet to help you with a jumping point. It's not complete. I can talk through these briefly, but some answer that you want to hear would be, you know what, we maintain this list of assets that you saw. We've classified all of our data, the risk, the priority, the value. We understand the flows and the access points. We continually update all of this information. We know why we're encrypting stuff and where. And so those are a number of the things. And again, checkbox security and security by design they're buzzwords. But when it comes down to it, you want to actually be able to have a discussion where you can talk about some of these deeper things, as opposed to you say, oh, you know what, we've got in firewall, we've got encryption, we've got antivirus, single sign-on, we're good. Or where I'm going to lead into Nicole here, it's handled by the service provider.